Hi guys, my name is Sean and I live in a tiny Indonesian home with over 1,000 houseplants. I'm a self-diagnosed plant hoarder and plant nerd at heart. In today's long episode, we declutter and rearrange plants strategically while saving hundreds of plants across many species. I will share with you professional plant care tips that I've learned from plant experts all over Asia. You also get to meet some of the interesting plants in my collection. This is a very long episode, but there's so much fun and joy in the process. Feel free to watch this over a few sittings and let's get this plant care party started. Clutter. There's clutter everywhere. There's plants everywhere, all around me, on the floor. There are leaves on top of other leaves, and that's not a good thing because a lot of plants are being smothered. I keep buying plants such as these platyceriums. I have some anthuriums that came in, and honestly, I'm propagating more, I'm rescuing more. And as you know, plants are always growing. Whatever we have now, it's just gonna get bigger and bigger. And I honestly have run out of space months ago. So now I'm living in this hell of like too many plants, and we're going to be decluttering. We're going to be getting rid of some plants, and I'm going to make some hard decisions into these videos. But I'm also going to be strategically placing the plants. I'm going to share with you some tips about where to place your plants, where they can be happier, where can they live a long and happy life. Although that is a conundrum in itself, because when you put the plants where they're happier, they will grow bigger, and bigger may not be what I want at this point, but I also want to have it look a little bit pleasing to the eye, so it's a bit of a balance, but where possible, I'm going to be prioritizing the plant's health and happiness over my own. The first thing that I will tackle here would be this giant that is just hanging out here on the table. So they arrived last night and we just put them in these pots just because we're waiting for the frames to come in. They're going to be mounted on frames quite beautifully. I've got some over there that are framed up like a month ago and they're doing really well. So I'm excited to do that with this. But it came just as it is. So the back of it actually needs to be rooted into something. So let me check with this, because the girls actually helped me pot this up earlier, so I didn't get to check on their work. But basically, I do want to lean it a little bit on this side because I want maximum contact with media behind here, because we want this to remain kind of moist. That's what this plant will root into. And later on, when we have the mount, we'll properly mount and add more media to the back here. So I'm going to pile this up a little bit with more moss. And then, this is really like falling over to, the fronds are actually very, very heavy. So it's like pulling the whole plant downwards. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like lay some more moss back here. And then I might actually secure it with a bit of thread. Just to show you the back. It is a lot more tidier here. I just wanted to make sure that this is nice and moist. And then you know what? I might actually even add a little bit of fertilizer. I'm gonna add it to the back of this so they will slowly release onto the plant. I just learned that if you give them very good conditions, these guys actually respond well to fertilizer and can grow really well for you. And a bit of pesticide here as well, a bit of pest control, because I just received this. I don't know what kind of growing condition this plant received before, so it's better to be safe than sorry. Just a little bit more, slow release. And this is not that ideal, but you can see behind there, there's some spot behind those Hoyas. It's actually pretty low light, but this needs to be like laid flat, otherwise it will fall over. It's just way too heavy. This is actually extremely heavy. By the way, I got this at a very cheap price. This is very, very affordable. So don't say that staghorn ferns are expensive, because they can be quite affordable. And such as in this case, it's actually already putting out spores, and I've got spores all over my clothes. So technically speaking, we could probably have done a bit of a spore, germination, but I really don't have the time right now. But this is actually quite pretty. Ooh, I see the spores everywhere. They're flying around. Okay, excuse me, Hoyas. And these Hoyas are gonna be moved. It's not the ideal place here. And then I'm just gonna place this back here for now. Ooh, something just fell down, I'm so sorry. But this is a temporary spot for the staghorn fern. Yeah, I've got spores all over this. This is actually a Dischidia. Let me put this away for now. One thing, it's actually very overwhelming, and I have the feeling that this video will be super crazy long. I don't know how many hours it'll become, but bear with me. So one of the reasons of putting it this way is also because I can monitor the back of the media to make sure that it's lightly moist. And then another one will be over here. Within the first like 10 minutes, I've got spore all over my clothes. This is a begonia. This is going upstairs. It's in a propagation bin. I'm actually making a video for this. I want to place it somewhere cool and so it's not stifling hot. Look at this mess. Look at this mess. This is a good spot because there's good light and there's air conditioning. But let's continue with our work downstairs. All the way behind this shelf is the Calathea, I think, silver plate. It's hard to film with one hand. It's actually beautiful, gorgeous silver leaves, gorgeous underside. But this, I have a feeling, may be better off outside. Okay, so there's a little bit of a corner between the hose, my car, this is the garden hose, and the steps to my home. And I'm thinking, actually, that this corner here, I know it's going to be in the way of things. Calatheas actually love it here. It's like nicely shaded, and then it's got good airflow. It is a little bit on the hot side though, so I don't know if this, but I'll check on this in a few days to see how they're doing, but I'm going to leave it here for now. But maybe like 2 or 3 Calatheas in this corner might actually be okay. Now you see these railings here, and there are some Hoyas there already. I used to hang a lot of Hoyas along these railings because they're quite space efficient. Although one problem with that is that it is actually blocking a lot of light from coming down to the canopy below. But some Hoya might be okay. And what happened back then was that we were moving and a lot of Hoyas actually died. Either they were overwatered or they were underwatered. But let me try this again. Let me move the Hoyas here. Of course, the light-loving ones up here, and maybe the less light-loving ones will remain a little bit lower down, so it doesn't get too much of that top light. You know what? I got so distracted by this. This is the Hoya sigillatus. Look at the new leaf that's coming out. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh. I kind of want to move this, but it's so happy here. You know, sometimes these things, they really affect our decision making, and it makes our job actually quite difficult. And here's a bit of cheat because this Hoya is so big and the pot is so small, but at this time repotting is like nearly impossible. Ooh, sorry, it's bleeding on me. I might have like knocked off a leaf or two. I'm so sorry. But because repotting is not really an option, like there's all these vines with like delicate baby leaves coming out and also time constraint, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add moss to the top. This means that more roots can root into the moss, but also it means that it will retain a bit more moisture than before. Because when you have so many leaves, when your plant has matured, they're gonna need more water. That's just the way it is. So be mindful of that, and I might actually even fertilize this a bit and add a bit more pesticide. And the reason for the fertilizing is because I have a feeling this is one that might already be ready to flower and bloom, and sometimes they need that extra nutrients to help along with the blooms. There's like stuff all over the floor. It's like really making me unhappy, and it's just too cluttered here, my gosh. And this one here, I'm propagating away for a video, but it's doing really well. But yeah, it's really an elephant in the room at this point. Yeah, so what I've done is I've cleared this area of like this whole row of Hoyas just to make space for like plants back here and more light can hit the plants. Because when you have things in the way, the plants over here are actually getting blocked by the plant in front of it. For your information, I actually bought like 3 more Hoyas. I have no idea where I'm gonna place them, but I have new Hoyas, which is like insane. Now this is a beautiful Hoya imbricata. They're actually shinglers. They like to find a surface to latch onto, and they can become huge and beautiful. And they also love very bright light, so they can actually sun stressed very beautifully. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just place them here. This is my orchid wall, but I'm gonna place them in a corner here. One is getting good light, and number two, it's welcome to vine around and find maybe a plank, because all my Hoyas are on planks that it might actually latch onto. So that's that. Or further along, what I can do is give it like a proper plank when I want to do a dedicated care for this species. But for now, I don't have the time to kind of focus on one plant. So I'm just going to leave it here for now amongst the orchids. And I tend to put my Hoyas and orchids together because they have very similar care requirements. They have similar nutrient requirements. So I just hose them down with my orchid fertilizer. My gosh, and this one Hoya that's hanging, this is so beautiful. This is the Macrophylla variegated, but the variegated is on the inside. I might put the variegated one over here because the friend is already waiting over there. See how well they look together? So I might have to move this. I don't know what this one is, but it's hanging on to its dear life. I think it's done. This is like beyond repair. Now there's a bunch of these Dioscorea discolor. They've climbed all the way from down below, and I managed to cut all these vines off and propagated them, but some more has grown. How beautiful the leaves are, my gosh. And look at all this dried vine here, and it's stressing me out that they've climbed so high up very unceremoniously. So I'm just going to, I can't do it with one hand, so I'm just going to cut this off, and I'm going to propagate single node cuttings with these ones, so they're not going to waste. Watch my video if you want to see how they're done. This is actually one of the more stunning plants, and that's easy to care for and easy to propagate. And while I'm up here, I wanted to show you all these anthuriums. They're actually not doing well because they're so crammed together. They're living under the shelves. Look at that one there. This is, I think, a very expensive one actually, but this is living under a shelf. Look at that. It's getting like no light from above. So it is actually not very happy, and we need to do something about that. But for now, let me do it one at a time, and let me fix the Hoyas because they're one of the ones that are most in the way. Let me get to this. These Dioscoreas are a nightmare. Look at how it's vining all the way in all these. And this is that Hoya that we're trying to save, and it's like tangled up. It's gonna take me a while to fix this. This is like unbraiding nightmare here. Oh, and that's the plant, by the way, below. This is the main mother plant. How beautiful is that? These are all fresh new leaves because I think we cut off the top like 2 months ago. It started putting out all these new baby vines down here. Beautiful plant, and I think it needs more light than this, than what it's getting now. It's buried under, as you can see if I zoom out a bit, it's buried under a lot of things. Look at that. So a tip for you again, when you have plants that are being covered by other things, you know, like a shelf or other plants, or look at this leaf here. It's like shading everything below it. Look at how beautiful. This is from the top of the balcony, the Dioscorea. And it's made its way and like mingled with this beautiful Hoya Cantiana, but again, it's like smothering the Hoya. It's blocking most of its light. And also I think the Hoya needs a bit of reworking. So let me work on that, but let me take the top cuttings off of this first. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be an organizing video, but it ends up being like another propagation. Another rush for propagation. Snippity snip. I'm gonna end up with so many Dioscoreas. They're just so beautiful though. I wish you guys were like my neighbor. I would have gifted you like everything, but I don't know. I don't even know if my neighbors are gonna appreciate this. Where am I gonna even put these? My gosh, I have no space for this plant. We'll figure out at the end, but now we've got like more plants. Hoya Kentiana, oh my gosh, and this one's rooted on the floor. That's why you see so many aerial roots here. It's doing quite well here, but I think what I'm gonna do is add a bit of moss to the top as usual. Let me see if it's easier to hang this up. I don't know if I'm in frame, but I'm trying to figure out which ones to take. I'm gonna take cuttings obviously and turn this into 2 plants, which defeats the purpose of this entire video. But yeah, that's that. And then for this one, what I might do is add a little bit of moss. Again, one is to keep them from drying out too much, and number two, to gauge when to water again, because these moss turn to a light brown when they're bone dry. And also some of the vines, lower vines, they can turn into roots. Simple as that. And then I think for this plant, it looks so beautiful, my gosh. For this plant, I really I want it to be trellised up a little bit so it's not so unruly. It's like clambering everywhere. Yeah, I also need to up my nutrients and maybe light levels for some of my Hoyas, because a lot of them haven't really bloomed. Or maybe I missed out on the bloom because they're so tucked away under other plants. But I don't see any peduncles here, so there's no sign of it ever bloom before. So increase a bit of fertilizing again, and some light. Safely cut above that. Okay. This one node only has like one leaf on it, and Cantiana, this is what their leaf looks like. They look a lot like the Willinckii. We have a lot of Willinckis also. And I'm gonna bury it later in there. This is where the fun begins. This is where the root was, but I think most of it is dry. It's also the area root. But what I can also do is I can fold it in half, because as you can see here, even though this is one cutting, but there's roots on two sides. So I can just fold it in half and have both sides in there and still have a conjoined cutting. Does it make any sense to you? Because it's making a lot of sense to me. I'm gonna start burying this whole thing under cocoa chips. So for me, cocoa chips and moss, I mean, before I was using Aroid potting mix, which had a lot of cocoa chip on it. But these days I'm just using straight up cocoa chips and moss. So again, the moss will let me know when it's time to water it. And I want to keep the moss airy on top so new leaves can emerge with grace without too much obstruction. So this might become a very bushy Hoya Kentiana. A few days have actually passed between the last clip and today, and I know this video is more about placement and rearrangement of plants strategically, but I can't do that without caring for plants, so this is going to turn into a huge plant care video as well. And I also want to offer my condolences to the passing of Mr. Hambali, a plant legend, hybridizer, breeder in Indonesia. He passed 2 days ago, and I have 2 videos that I've done on him, and I'm glad that I was able to capture his spirit, his energy, and some of his mission in those videos. But the whole plant community is in mourning from his death, and our journey continues today. And of course there's a lot more plants here because I just piled them up randomly. This plant was getting too much rain, it was just wet up there. So plant care is becoming a little bit unmanageable for me, but good news, we actually are giving away a lot of the plants to my dad's factory. So I was just contacted, I think last night, from my mom, who asked for full sun plants, which we have a lot around the house, that we could donate over there and let them grow happily in full sun at the factory and let other people take care of it. So we may put away some plants later. So yeah, this is becoming a whole mess of a video. It's going to be very long, but you will learn a lot. So keep watching. Now we did fairly well with most of the Hoyas here, some of these, but we have some rogue Hoyas just hanging out kind of bits and pieces here. So I'm going to just hang them right in between the shelves because there's already this in the way. So the Hoyas are not going to be getting in the way of other plants. And these are sort of the medium light Hoyas, so they don't need as much light as the Hoyas that we hung up there a few days ago. And of course, these huge Plumanii, they are very, very in the way of things, but they need a few more weeks. So I'm not going to impose on its space now. It's doing fantastic. It's actually very happy where it is. Now this shelf here, it feels a lot more clear. I can actually see that it's way brighter now that all the Hoyas on the front here are being removed. So this provides a very strategic spot for us to put more plants. And sometimes it is important to take your camera and pretend you are the plant and kind of give a gander, look around to see how much light it's getting, because it's actually not getting any light from here. And of course, it's not getting any light from the wall back here. This is completely dark for the plant. So the only source of the light that the plant has is this window here. Actually, I would also want to say something about this wall here. If you imagine, if you look at it here, it looks like it's getting actually very good light. But if you pretend you are the plant and you look the other way, there's no light source coming from the front. There's only a slither bit of light coming from the top. Look at that, it's covered by other plants as well. So this is actually getting low light, and precisely this is why a lot of my variegated monstera, such as this one here, has reverted to all green color. We also had a marmorata, which we did a video of down below, that has also reverted. So we sometimes look at a space and we think, wow, this looks very bright. Look at all this light hitting it. It looks, medium or bright indirect light or whatever, but sometimes you're wrong. So you gotta put yourself in the position of the plants, and just from there you can see where it's, what kind of light level it's actually getting. And another thing with this shelf here, we have to be careful, is that when we water the plants, the water from the top shelf might dribble down here, so we cannot put plants that are more sensitive to water down here because we absolutely cannot control how much water this is getting. So basically the type of plants that I can put here are moisture-loving plants, such as this one here. This is the Fittonia. And then, hang on, my back is towards it, back against the audience, that's not good. Fittonia is very good for this spot here. And then this is a Kaempferia. It actually looks very beautiful. This is the junior version of them. It formed an impossible clump where it just was smothering itself. It was like a pot with like, and then it's just strangling itself to death. So I have separated them about a month or so ago. Oh, let me show you what the parent plant looks like. A lot of people actually ask this. This is what the mature leaves look like. And this is where I made the separation from. So when they mature, they become these beautiful leaves. So a lot of people ask me what it is in my Calathea video. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of the thumbnail of that video. And it is a Kaempferia, and it is a relative to the Calathea, and it is beautiful. It's easier to care for. And as I mentioned earlier, they propagate itself. It keeps putting out babies like crazy. And this is what the flowers look like. It's actually very beautiful. This is again, a cousin of the Calathea, very spider mites prone, so be careful, but then it is so beautiful. I don't understand why plants like this is not more popular. I really don't. A lot of people have also given up on the Calathea because they're actually not so easy to care for. This is Scindapsus tattoo. I'm giving this away, by the way, to 5 lucky winners. I've announced a plant giveaway competition for international people. It's in the YouTube shorts, in case you missed it. But the deadline is over, so you cannot apply anymore. But look at all this space that we've made now, and I'm just gonna put these plants in a way that is tidy. Before they were just everywhere, and I'm just gonna put them next to each other. I might actually also put these. This is Anthurium. I don't know why I bought these. They were very cheap. I don't know if they were hybrids or crystallinums, but this is medium light. This is another one, a Clarinervium, if I'm not wrong. I also just recently bought this, very cheap as well. I'm gonna put these back here. And they hate water, so actually this might not be a good place for it. Actually, back there, there's another row of shelves where we keep an eye out for watering. That's probably where it's going to go. Okay, now we've got a bunch of these. This gray star, the Tenante gray star. And I don't know why I put this in a terracotta pot, because it actually really likes water. And every evening I would actually make sure that this one is wet, and it's worrisome, when you have thousands of plants and you have the one that's like, you have to keep an eye out for. And this is definitely one of those. So I might actually repot this into a plastic pot. Just gonna switch out the pot. It's getting tight here, this work area. See, it's so dry here. So terracotta pot dries up way faster than a plastic pot would. And this happened to be a pretty thirsty, slightly moisture-loving plant. So moving this would be a good idea now. Found another Scindapsus. This is the mama plant of the Scindapsus tattoo. I might as well put it right here. They don't need a ton of light, Scindapsus. Maybe just one more. This one actually needs a bit more light, so I might put it up front over here. This is the philodendron painted lady, and I'm not going to do it now, but we have to do it soon. because these are individual plant of the philodendron painted ladies. So I've got to separate them and put them in single pots before their roots start to kind of intertwine each other. It becomes impossible to separate them. But yeah, so basically I had one of this that was dying like down there. It was getting too low of a light, and then it was just elongating. I was just vining weirdly. So I just propagated, and now I've got many baby plants. This is another Tenanti gray star. Yeah. I've got this philodendron Birkin here. We repotted this maybe even a month ago. And we keep kicking into it. Every time we're trying to get somewhere, it gets kicked on one side. I don't think it's happy, but beautiful leaves. And I'm always gonna be forever grateful for this plant because this is one of my first videos that I did when I propagated and cared for it. Look at that new growth here. This has become a cheap plant. It used to be very sought after, and a lot of people can afford these. And I definitely recommend this plant. This is one that I really, really adore. And I like that half moon leaf, if you saw that in the middle of the screen. But the philodendron Birkin, I feel like it's a plant that would look good in a living room, actually. Like, I don't know, my living room's a mess now, by the way. Just so you know, this is what my living room looks like. It's got potting media here. It's a bit messy. So I will try to get to it at some point. But all I need to do is get this out of the way for now. And again, this is a very good spot for it to get light. And it's not really in the way. Let me put this over here, actually. It's not really bothering anyone yet. But it might find a place permanently here at some point. And they also hate water, by the way. The philodendron Birkin, this is why I put them in a terracotta pot. I have a tendency to overwater this plant. So yeah, and I have multiples of this. I have some grown in the ground, in the front yard, that I need to take care of later. Back to this shelf here. This is that anthurium that we saw earlier. I'm gonna place them in this shelf. Far more Kaempferia. The friends are over there, so I'm gonna put them together. So yeah, this is good. This is very therapeutic, just getting everything in order and reorganizing. I can't believe it took me this long to do this because again, once I moved here, I piled up all the plants in one area and kind of forgot about them. This is moisture loving. This, believe it or not, this begonia, we also have a video on this. I don't know if it's coming out before this one or after, but I propagated more begonias, and these are the cuttings. So this is also needing a bit of water for now. Marantas, they love low light. They really do. This one likes a bit more light. This is the African violet, which we have a video coming out soon. Do that here. It needs top light, by the way. This is a rosette plant. And by the way, when you have any plant that's rosette, I mean, intuitively, you would know to put them somewhere where they're getting top light. Like this it's like under a lot of plants. Pitter patter, it's like rain. It's been raining hard. This is a Pilea peperomoides. It also loves top light. A lot of you guys killed them, and I have to, don't get me wrong. This is not an easy plant, but a lot of you guys killed them because you put them under a shelf, and it's not getting any light from up above. This is why I put it up here. So yeah, this one actually, it's more durable than that plant, so I have grown it under a shelf, or next to a window you would rotate it, obviously. But I'm gonna put it now here, a bit in the front of the shelf. This is a Piper magnificum, or is that magnificum? I can't remember. But it died on me and it grew a new vine. This is also a low light plant, also moisture loving. So I'm gonna put it back here. These are not good. I think something was like under this, like I think, this plant maybe. It's like this for a while, but this plant died off. This is what was it? Homalumina or Schismatoglotis, that's silver, but we lost it unfortunately. So it happens. These are plants that actually love it brighter. But for these guys, they can actually face one direction. Over here, if I place them here now, it's actually a little bit brighter than where I had them before. So that's good. And also they're moisture loving. These guys, they do not want to dry out. If you forget to water them, they're gonna be gone. But they don't want to sit in water either. It's not easy. I will someday do a care video for this. I have another one lying around. But these plants are actually not difficult. They're actually quite easy, which is also their downfall because we sometimes take it for granted. But they do require specific conditions, which I will share in a future video. This is a Syngonium erythrophyllum. Pretty nice to have something a bit darker here. with that magnificum, like dark on dark leaf action. Another Maranta. Look how beautiful this is. And I'm gonna place them, this one can go a little bit behind. It can take low light, maybe even over here. Okay, honestly though, if I could, if I had all the resources in the world, I would probably have like put a row of light up above and just leave it on, especially during days that are cloudy like today when it's raining. Leave it on and the plants are gonna grow so well, so healthy, so fast. But again, fast growing plants that grow big may not be in our favor because we're running out of space. But I really do need to declutter at some point, and a lot of plants I think in this video you'll see are going to be gifted away or removed somehow. So, all right, do you see this big pot of Scindapsus? This is the Trubii Moonlight. And then, sorry, it's not really wanting to let go. And then this one is the Scindapsus Sumatra. Very similar, but different. We mentioned it a few times in the video. But what we did was it just keeps growing and growing. So we took these vines that they grew and we just kept looping it around. I don't know if I'm in frame even. You loop it around and I just clip it down into this pot so that each of the nodes will activate. I don't know why I did that. I mean, of course, when each node activates turns into roots, you can cut them and propagate and turn into more plants. But I don't know why I need more plants. I really don't. So, but it's something that I've been doing. So what I might actually do is, at some point, I'm gonna have like, I don't know, like a Sunday maybe, I'll have the neighbors come over and I'll just tell them to bring bottles of water, potting media, whatever. We'll just have a propagation party. We'll just cut and everyone can take cuttings home with them with all these plants, including this as well. This is the Philodendron's Cream Splash. And it's become, look at it, it's so lush. And I just keep wiggling it. I mean, obviously, if I just kept it longer, it will bush out and trail over things, but we don't have the space for it again. But then what I just did is I just kept looping it around, and now it's like all these babies are in there, they're all growing, all these active growth points. So I'm going to have all these propagation parties or days with my neighbors, and they can just come and take cuttings and take them off my hand. Because these ones, they actually have smaller pots of them growing inside everywhere in the house. I just need to basically be consistent and keep just one pot, keep it lush, beautiful, and then that's it. But I have multiples, and that's become a problem. But this Scindapsus, back to our program, this can actually take a bit of medium. By the way, these little vines that you see here, I don't know if I'm in frame, but these vines, they have the teeny tiny leaves, the leaves will expand and they will grow in size over time. So I'm gonna chuck this back here, chuck it in the back where it's getting like maybe medium to somewhere to like low light. They can absolutely handle it. And this one, the Philodendron Haderacea, they need more light. So I might actually put this here. It needs more light than the Scindapsus. There's another one here. Look at how beautiful this is. This is the Silver Splash, my favorite. Now, a lot of you guys have commented that this is not the Silver Splash, and it is. I bought it as a Silver Splash. The thing is that with Silver Splash, when you give it a lot of light, like that one is giving the best light of its life, it will give you mostly silver leaves. But if you give them low light, they actually will kind of revert to like a Scindapsus pictus exotica, like the typical ones. So they're very adaptive. And this one needs more brighter space. I'm gonna put this in front over here. For me, the reason why I'm keeping so many plants, one, I'm hoarding them. But number two, I always sort of have a plan of what I'm gonna do. This, by the way, was also growing amongst a pot of Anthurium magnificum, and it took over that pot. So the magnificum was strangled by it, and so I just separated it, and it's now doing well. I mean, a lot of yellowing leaves, but then they were in bad shape when I kind of propagated and separated them. But the reason why I have all these around is someday I thought I would use it in my living room decorations, background for my vlogging, and things like that. Of course, that's not really happened much because I wasn't home for a long time. But I really love to be moving these plants around, styling my living space. Found that Anthurium magnificum that we were talking about before that was smothered by the Syngonium. Beautiful new leaf. It was huge before. It was actually our Anthurium magnificum video. And now it's died, but it came back as this. I think I have another small one somewhere. So I'm gonna put this like here, I think. Yeah, this is where it's not really getting too much water, and the other two anthuriums can also be here. It's quite bright here, actually. I'll say medium brightness. Yeah, and just keep an eye out. Don't overwater this, because I had some Hoyas in this corner of the shelf before, and it was a bit underwater, so I'm assuming that it would be safe to have this plant there. And this is actually a beautiful Hadiora. The Hadiora can go here, actually. It loves water because it's in terracotta pot. It's quite bushy now, and I haven't repotted it for a while. It can take a bit of water. So these, I will just hose down this whole area and not worry about it. There's a bit of Scindapsus here too from our Scindapsus variegated video. It's actually really, really beautiful. I don't know if I'm in frame even. It's actually really, really pretty. This one can also go here for now. All right, this shelf is actually looking quite full, and I'm very happy so far, except this one peperomia. I might actually save this. This is too big of a pot, but I might save it and put it in my air-conditioned room. It's not doing well. It needs top light as well. We are in day 3, and the girls actually mounted the staghorn ferns for me. The frames arrived last night, and this morning I was out. I went to the gym, and by the time I came back, it was beautifully mounted. I guess you didn't know that we were filming, otherwise I would have shown you how to mount it. But this is what they look like after they've been mounted, and I'm really, really grateful because actually mounting staghorn ferns take a bit of time. We do have a little one here. This, I believe, is the hillii, which I can actually mount right now for you. When you buy staghorn ferns, sometimes they come in this kind of situation in a pot, but they really look better, and they also are happier when you mount them. So the anatomy of the staghorn fern, again, is that they, I need to make sure it's grown the right way. I think this is the right side up. Is that they have these fronds, and then they have the shield fronds. This is the fertile frond, so spores appear from this frond. The shield frond will spread and take over or envelope a surface. This is what the shield fronds do. And then behind the shield fronds, you will see these tiny, tiny fine hair. These are the roots. So the roots are going to be behind the shield frond. So the way that you would do is you would want to pot it up in some media. Usually moss is good, but it can be in many different things. And then the roots will just keep growing into that moss, and you want to fertilize both the fronds and also the roots. And then the new shield frond will just slowly get bigger and bigger over time. It will in fact envelope the entire media. So the media, the mount, the size of it, it all matters. All right, so basically the shield frond here is pretty much dead. It dries up, and don't worry about it. Shield fronds, they do dry up and they wither over time. It's natural. And then it will spit out a new shield frond from the middle here, and it will envelope over the surface. So this is how they do. And they're a little bit misunderstood. Sometimes people don't really know the care exactly because they're so different from a lot of the plants that we have. So yeah, so I have this. It's just lying around. I think it used to be something, I don't know what used to live here, but it didn't make it. So I am just going to pry open this a little bit and wiggle this plant in here. And I actually have these beige colored threads, but I don't know where she put it. So I'm just gonna use this instead because we just gotta get this project going. All right, and we don't need all this, so we're gonna strip it into thinner pieces. And I know it looks unsightly to have these show up because this is a very, very dark color. But when the next shield fronds comes out, it will envelope over even the twine. So you won't be able to see the twine after the next growth cycle. So don't worry about it. Cure this. Ooh. It fell right off. It flopped right out of there. And you want to make sure that it's actually tight. You want the back of the platycerium to really, really be in contact with the media at all time. If you dry out the back roots, like between this and the moss, if you dry that out completely, this plant will not make it. And the way that you will know it is that the fronds, the fertile fronds, will become brown. But also keep in mind, they can also be overwatered. I actually water this almost every day, and it's okay for me to keep these media moist all the time where I am because it's got very good light, excellent light, and we also have fan going on 24 hours a day, so it's got very good airflow, so it dries up relatively fast. All right, here we go. So these guys are actually very good for people who are into like bondage and stuff. Look at that, that looks really, really sick. And this one here, it's actually a problem. Look at how beautiful the waves are. This is a bit of an aged Platycerium. I actually bought them cheap, as I mentioned before, but it is blocking all the other plants behind it from getting light. But you know what? I want to rehab this for a bit because it just arrived, it was just mounted. I wanted to put out at least one new shield frond before I move it indoors because there's an intended space for them. I actually bought them for a reason. And I want to quickly show you this. This one I got about a month ago. It put out a shield frond. Look at that. That new shield in the middle. It's still expanding in size. I just noticed it today. And this is what's beautiful about Platyceriums, that they grow these beautiful hanging fertile fronds, very jungle vibes. And look at this, how untamable the beauty is. Very wavy, and there's many forms of them. But also the fact that they grow these shield fronds, it's just another extra element there that makes it really, really quite wonderful. All right, so I'm gonna start moving things away. This is a Hoya. This is another Hoya that's not doing so well. Ooh, it's got Platycerium spores all over the leaves. Sorry. This is another beautiful Anthurium. And I guess this is going, well, it can go all the way up here actually. Oh, I almost forgot about this guy. This is an Andrianum. I mean to check this guy out. This is actually very wet. Very, very wet. I'm a little bit nervous because Anthuriums, they actually really hate water. I'm gonna give it a quick check. Let me see if you're in frame. Gonna give this a quick check. Yeah, it's mush. Mush. Look at all this. This is root rot. Yeah. Just be careful when you see a plant and it's just never dry. They need drying out period. This is pertaining to most plants, especially these Anthuriums. So we're getting a bit of loss down here. Yeah, again, this video is meant to be about placements and rearranging plants, but so many things are in the way, and these things are quite essential. Like, we gotta get to it immediately, you know? We can't just leave them be, because this will deteriorate very quickly if we don't do something about it. Technically speaking, after we take out all these dead roots, we should spray this with fungicide and all that good stuff, so that we reduce the incidence of infection. But I've gotten away without doing that. So when you have a long stem like this, a lot of the bottom part here tend to rot because there's more materials to rot down below. Where if you see the fresh new roots that are healthy, it is all up around here. So I might actually do a thing where I just cut it. I cut it, and then let me sterilize the cut ends with a bit of activated charcoal. And you can plant this. You can plant this. Babies might appear out of this one. I am out of moss, I think. I'm gonna throw this in a pot for now. I might even put a bit of that charcoal from the previous media and put it inside a prop box where it's like almost 100% humidity. Oh, let me find the perfect pot. The thing with overwatered plants, or if you have overwatering tendencies like I do, terracotta pots, they are your savior. We do hose down our plants almost every day, so we don't. Oh, and there's already a new vine. There's a new vine coming out over here. There's a new vine here. That's really cute. So this is just an Andrianum, and they flower. They're known for its flowers. And this is actually cheap in most Western countries, Europe, US. You guys have huge growers there that grow them in like very big numbers. But here in Indonesia, these are very expensive, sadly. And I actually really do love them, and I want to have more in my collection. I really do, I adore them. But not many people grow them, and again, not many people buy them as well. So that's why they sit in shelves, and very few people propagate them, and that's why they're very expensive here. I'm not even gonna water this today, but glad we did this. Glad we found out the problem. And when you do terracotta pots, more fertilizer. because the pots are also wicking the nutrients away from the media. So this is actually looking cute now, very cute. Look at that. And this is going back up there. Guess it's getting decent light. There's a basket of pots here that I might move this way. Ooh. So I can actually place some more plants here. So we are making room for some plants along this shelf here. These are all like pretty much wet stick propagations. This is done. Look at dropping things everywhere. So I think a lot of the planting tools can be placed behind on the shelf where it's not getting enough light. But yeah, these are all like wet sticks. These are doing well. I mean, relatively, this is the Schumburgera, but it's putting out all these baby leaves. But this is the VIP spot where we pay attention to the watering. I think this is done. I don't think anything is alive here. This is a Marantha that also is not doing so well, so this is done. It feels so good to throw these away. Because, you know, like having these around is really not helping anybody. It's like, it feels good to declutter. And this was also dead, I think. Now I'm gonna do something that I've been meaning to do for a very, very, very long time. It's like been procrastinating doing it, which is to move a lot of plants to the top shelf there. There's actually like a lot of room all the way up there for plants to just like grow, and it's actually very good light up there, although we do have to hose it down, spray it down. Now this here is the Philodendron Veliatae. It can actually take a bit of direct sunlight. I've even seen it in full sun at Mr. Greg's place, bless his soul. So I'm gonna place it all the way up on the shelf. Ugh. I didn't think this through, but this somehow has to sit on the ledge. Yeah, it's not going to. This is a bit harder than I thought. Like dropping potting mix everywhere. Ugh. Okay, first of all, I have morbid fear of height, so this was not a good idea. Also, this was not, I mean, there's a shelf, but the shelf is only like this, so it'll just fall over. So this pot is actually a little bit too big. Let me put this back here for now. But this fern, this can absolutely do well up there in better light. In fact, it will grow much better. I'm gonna take off some of the dead or dying fronds that are not looking so good. I have a video on this Microsorum crocodilus on how to propagate them. This is one of my propagates. It's grown quite big. But we don't want this like ugly leaf. So I'm giving it a very hard prune because the new leaves are actually quite beautiful, fresh and green. And then I might actually give it more fertilizer and add a bit of potting mix to it. I also have two of these. I have another one over there. I don't know why I have two. I don't need it. I don't need two actually. One was actually enough. And if you know me, this can also be divided further when I want to. So this is like, the ladder is like shaking. I tried in the bottom to make sure that it's sturdy and it's not shaky, but it is in fact quite shaky. I'm on my tiptoe now. Oh, up here. And this is a beautiful epiphyllum here in my hand. And it, when I moved it here, my gosh, it put out all these new leaves. But there's one problem with this. When you put a plant in a better light, it just started growing out all these beautiful leaves, and then it flowers almost like every few months for me. It's supposed to flower once a year. If you watch like Crazy Rich Asians, I think this is one of that flower that blooms for you. And yeah, it's a problem putting it here because when you have them like along this shelf, it's blocking light from anything that's under it. So that is one thing that I will do soon. I will do a video on green wall do's and don'ts. One of the don'ts is to put trailing plants like this because it will smother. See all the plants below that are not getting good light. Oh my God, I'm on my tiptoe, Okay. Whoa. Yeah, I need to maybe put a bit of, I don't know, something down there because it is very, very imbalanced and it's a bit dangerous. But thank God these shelves are quite sturdy, so it gives me something to hold on to. And I've got this beautiful Philodendron Florida beauty, and it's kind of reverted to green, but I gave it better light. And now some of the newer leaves are showing variegation again. So this is a plant that I think I will continue giving good light, and I think this is the right spot for it because it is getting excellent light all the way up here on the shelf, and it doesn't need frequent watering. Philodendrons can actually dry out between watering, and I have half a mind to place it in this corner, but it is getting a little bit blocked by that cactus. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it like around here. Okay. And make sure the leaves are out of each other's ways, because if you block the leaves, they're not getting too much light. Yeah. The Philodendron Patriciae that we saw earlier, I might as well put it here too. It won't live here forever. It will not. Let me find a better spot for it. But it'll do for now. It can get big, this plant, if I don't kill it again. I overwatered it before. That's why it's living in a terracotta pot now. In fact, even if it gets a little bit bigger, it might actually adhere to that wall, grab onto the cocoa coir and get big here because it doesn't have long internodes. This is a Hadiora, but the problem is it's behind a Monstera. So when we water it, it really isn't getting much water at all. So I'm gonna move it here. Yeah, much better. Phew. And I've got actually one more plant here. This is a fern of some sort. Beautiful, beautiful fern. And actually this can probably do well. It was also living under other plants, so it wasn't getting very good light. This cacti, jungle cacti here, I'm gonna leave that there. Hopefully this will do better. It was not getting any light. It was really literally smothered under a bunch of different plants. And this came right off, this mican, so we might propagate this. It's beautifully sun-stressed. I mean, I don't mind it at all. There's a bit of a bald spot there. We will do the green wall another time, but for this placement, I'm so much more satisfied. There's room for one more plant. I found the perfect plant. This is an Anthurium. I think it's a Magnificum hybrid, so it can get quite big. But for now, let me put this here. It just got done with a bit of rehabbing. It is a little bit too bright for it. Anthuriums, they actually like it medium light, but more light means it will grow maybe a bit faster and maybe get bigger also. So this is also providing like an interesting sort of contrast over here. So let me move on from this wall. This massive Epipernum pinnatum variegated. It's already hit the ceiling. It stresses me out. What am I gonna do? It's such a fast growing plant. Look at that, it's like overtaking all the other plants. And that big leaf philodendron there is actually massive. It's a Atabapuanse. As it matures, it loses its maroon underside. It is really, really giant, it's huge. So I really don't have the room for it. This here, actually, this looks really, really good. Don't you agree? But it's so cluttered. It's actually really, really overcrowded. Let me get you off this tripod and show you. Look at that. And this fern is in the way of me getting behind. And we will do another episode, I think, to save this back area. This is grounded. So it's actually a prime real estate for plants. I have the Philodendron McDowell that's sized up so big back there, and I just removed it to propagate. So this fern has got to go. I know it's happy here. It's a high humidity loving fern. And look at this beautiful new frond. This is an Angiopteris, evecta. But it's got to go. It's like in the way of plant care, in the way of people, but it is quite beautiful here. If you look, oh my God, I stepped on something. As I was backing into it, I stepped into a begonia. One last look. This is actually really pretty. I like this view, but it's got to go. There's a beautiful Anthurium here as well. This is a Veitchii crossed with, I think, Dorayaki from Mr. Eddie. And we got to find a home for it too. And this, by the way, is living in a, let me show you. It's living in a thing of water. It absolutely needs it. When we run out of water, the fronds, they just wilt. They wilt like crazy. Oh my god, you've gotten big. If you watch my fern video, this guy was super tiny. Go type in only plants fern on the YouTube search bar and you should find this plant when it was still a baby. When you ground them, they become massive. I think this is a plant that I will end up putting in my mom's place because I think she loves ferns, first of all, but also she has a backyard, which we will do a content. A lot of my plants here will go to her backyard. The house finishes in February, so we'll be filming and filling her garden with beautiful plants and hopefully beautiful memories. But this is going upstairs for now. I think I see a spot. There's a different backyard there now, but we're gonna shuffle things around because I feel like that spot would be good for this fern. It wouldn't get in the way of people. You'll see what I mean in a bit. I found this macrame that I left here when I was moving, and it looks terrible. It looks horrible, and I just left it there. And I mean, we water it every day, but it looks terrible. So I'm going to throw this away and restart a beautiful pot of mican. I don't know if you can see here, but this is the Epiprem Marble Queen, which I've not seen for a long time. It's been behind that shelf. And this is a Mandula, a Pothos Mandula, and this is a random pot of various Philodendron Hederaceum. I think there's a cream splash in there, there's a lemon in there, and there's a green in there. It's just a mishmash of this. But again, I might actually just put this somewhere. Ooh, there's a Tradescantia. I don't know what it's doing here. I don't know how it's surviving in there, but it's very much alive. The other friends, they're already outside. I moved them out 2 months ago, so this is still a cutting that is doing okay. I might actually put this just like in a bathroom, you know, like even though it's getting no light or whatever, but at least it'll be a decoration for now. But because I have healthy pots of this elsewhere, but this is just a duplicate that I don't need and it's cluttering up my space. So this is going to a bathroom probably. Might look good actually. If you give it a good trim, it might actually look quite sexy. This here is a Dieffenbachia that we have propagated. So a video is coming out soon. And this is doing well. It's like, it's a top cutting. I basically took the top cutting of a Dieffenbachia and stabbed it in the soil, and it's now grown leaves after leaves without batting an eye. Okay, moment, ooh. Moment of truth. Okay. Ho. Of course, it's like knocking things out. It's like catching onto my dishkidia. Let go. Okay. Moment of truth. Okay. Oh my gosh. I hope I don't bend this frond, okay? It's a little bit less light than before. Sorry, don't stare at my ass. But this is a pretty good spot actually for it. Let me show you. There. Don't it look nice? It's like, it loves humidity. It likes to be grouped with other plants. And this is actually closer to the sky. So it is a little bit closer to the light source, but it is under other plants. So I don't know, I'm like moving things around. So I'm not sure. This Nepenthes I might actually move away. Need 2 hands. Pardon me, but this is exciting. I'm actually genuinely excited. But let me show you this Nepenthes here. It died, but then look at that. Look at the top here. Let's put out a new growth. So this one I will propagate probably because the main plant is over here. So don't worry, this is actually doing okay. It hasn't put out picture. I still haven't figured out why. I don't know the species of this, but it's put out even a baby on the side. I don't know the species ID, and I don't know if it wants cooler, I don't know if it's highlands or lowland, but it just hasn't pictured for me. So I'm gonna take care of these nepenthes. And I have a feeling that this will look good from below. When you're down there looking up, there's like this beautiful lush foliage in this corner. I'm actually really tempted to propagate, take cuttings from there, but I know I don't need it. Honestly though, this is how bad my hoarding has gotten. Cute little aglaonema. We did a video on this. I've got 3 pots of this and I seriously don't know what to do with them. I might give them away soon, but they're so cute. I like seeing them around. I like seeing these babies around. And they're just growing and growing. But I have these and I have the parent plants too. So now you see my dilemma, right? This is what I deal with every day and it's not always pleasant. I must admit, I have way too many plants. I have way more plants than anybody should have. That Dieffenbachia is going there for now. I know I'm just piling up plants after plants around there. I might do a styling video soon to, deal with it. But for now, I think we still should rearrange the back area and prepare the space for more plants and to have more efficient plant care. And you see that needs to be sprayed with fungicide. This is where I made the cut from the Philodendron McDowell, the huge leaf ones, and it's put out 2 new vines for me. How cute is that? So there's some Pluminiis here. Probably can cut off the leaf, but also spray some fungicide because I have not really cared for this area. There's some Sharonii here that I'm actually very embarrassed about. So we'll do an episode in this area. All right, bit of a mishmash of plants still left here. But I might close this video soon. This is becoming a very, very long video, but this is so beautiful, oh my gosh. And I wanna give it like good care, good light. So it might go up here. This is a Burlemarx. It's so dry because it's all the way back here. So it's very dry. And there are also some green vines. So what I might do is, and there's another, I might give this away. My mom already has one of this that's quite big, so she doesn't need it. I might take out the moss pole because the plant is not really attached to the moss pole. It's not really cared for properly. It's very, very underwatered, I think. But I think I can give this to a neighbor. I think they'll appreciate it. Although I feel bad giving away the pots because I'm running out of pots. But yeah, I'm gonna give this away. This is a done deal. Or to my dad's factory, might also be good. They could just take cuttings from this and turn this into a lush corridor of it. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I think we nailed a lot of problems. My gosh, I'm so happy. So happy for today. This is also another one from Eddie. Beautiful. It says hybrid cobra scorpion variegated. Also, this one needs top light, so it cannot be under a shelf or anything. So, and this is very, very forgiving. It's been very forgiving for me. So I might actually, let me see. This is a Martianum. Let me check on it too. Oh my gosh, too many plants. This is doing fine, by the way. It just gets neglected here, but I do see ants, and I don't see extra floral nectaries. So there may be mealybugs in the soil. I'm gonna give it a bit of pesticide. Remember that ants have no business in your plants unless they are harboring mealybugs and scale. And some philodendrons actually produce extra floral nectaries to attract the ants, and in the end, the ants will protect the plants from those pests. But in this case, this is not a particular plant that gives out extra floral nectaries. So the ants are here for no good reason, and that's why I'm giving them a pesticide. They have to go before the pests spread to my other plants. This is how they start if you ignore them. I'm gonna put this a bit in the back because it's doesn't need as much attention, but we must be mindful because it's also a terracotta pot that when we water it, it needs a lot of watering. And this one is full, so another plant can come here. The Biliotai. Let me see, is this a good spot for you? Oh, it's getting here. Maybe this is better light. Maybe this Pilea. I mean, it's shielded by other leaves, which is not always good. You should have it ideally face the sky, but I guess we're quite strapped for space. And this is vining, this philodendron hederaceum. I just cannot contain it anymore. It's a big pot of it. And again, it's one that I vine this kinds of vine all around the pot, so that each of these nodes will root. So I might do a party with my neighbors, a cutting party, where we can celebrate. This is very wet. It's beautiful though. This is a very common Dieffenbachia. Let me show you. I started with just the one plant, and then I propagated it. So when you have these plants, you can even propagate now actually. You can turn to many plants. They become really, really pretty. Excited about this. But this is a little bit wet actually. It shouldn't be. Because when I'm checking at the plants up there, we do water them regularly, and a lot of them felt dry, but this one feels wet. So this one we need to back off with watering quite a bit. Or I could just move this to a terracotta pot. Yeah, this is a pretty good size. Look at how beautiful this will look. So I'll take this out. Look at all these roots. I guess this is a very forgiving plant. Look at how wet it is. It's perpetually sitting in water, I guess. And it hasn't rotted on me. So I guess this is a very strong plant. And when I see plants like this, I do recommend them because I think to build up confidence, we should get easier plants. And also to have, some stress-free plants that are always forgiving us, growing, regardless of how little we know about their care, they can still thrive. I think that's quite important, especially if you want to gift these for people. I might actually move this indoors. They make really good indoor plants. So this might go indoors in the living room. I think it's time. This here, beautiful, Acanthus montanus. I have the shorts. I created shorts on how I care for and propagate this. Actually a very easy plant, and I really want to give it a bit of a mention here because this is one of the water propagations, and I have decided to trash this because there's no way I'm wasting pot and also potting media for this plant. It is super fast growing. It's a weed. I have a lot growing in the front yard. So I basically cut this up because the one in the front yard was growing out of proportion. It was like getting in the way of people. So I cut it and made a content out of it. But then this, yeah, I wouldn't give this to neighbors as well because it's like spiky. It's not something that's auspicious. I don't know if for Asians we believe that when you give people things, it should be like nice and safe. But anyways, if you guys or anybody or my neighbors want this, I'll be happy to cut it from my garden fresh for them. But this one, it's gotta go. So this is the last time you'll see it, but it is in fact a beautiful, beautiful plant. I'm a bit sad to say goodbye to it. Look at all these roots. But we have no space. We absolutely must give this up. And this here is a Fittonia, dead Fittonia. We've got the babies. The babies are over here. We cut the top cuttings, typical top cuttings, and we saved them. And this one here as well. So we will regrow them, but then it's gonna feel so good throwing this away, especially this pot here. This is very hazardous. You see this is like a rusty metal wire. Yeah, and it's stressful. I mean, there's some baby leaves that they're trying to grow out of this, but literally there's no way I am spending the time to save this. So this is going to the trash. And then I guess these begonias have been on the floor for a while. They're not doing terribly well, but I guess I'm gonna put this on this shelf. It's getting some light, pretty decent light in this as well. And this one is a begonia boomer that I meant to propagate and start over because it's straggly, it's fast growing, and it's just growing kind of everywhere. So I'm going to be propagating this and starting a tight new pot, but that day is not today because this plant, it's still strong. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna focus on the plants that need dire attention. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you propagate the micans. Snip, snip. This one has dried aerial roots. I'm just gonna chuck this away. We've got other cuttings that have better chances, like this one here. So this one has good leaf, good roots, and if you pull down the sheath, you'll invariably find their growing eye inside the sheath. I'm not gonna try to disturb it too much, but there's a growing eye somewhere in here. So you want to get healthy cuttings where possible to set you up for success. There. And then water this lightly every so often. You don't want to bury this all the way in. You can leave This pot is not full, by the way. Da-da-da. How beautiful. I'm actually quite excited about this. Look at all this space that we cleared up. This feels good already, but let me get in frame. And what is this? What is this? I think it's always a Scindapsus. It's a Scindapsus. What was the name of it? The leaves look very elongated. Maybe even Epipremnum amplissimum silver. I think that's what it is. Put out this crazy runner. It's very thick, so you can bet that if this sprout leaves, if this takes hold to the ground, the leaves are going to be massive. It's such a shame. I'm going to have to cut this off and throw this away. It's very, very, it brings me no pleasure, believe me. But this is very cute. I just saw this after we cleared out all this space. And this beautiful begonia as well. I meant to do a video on this and propagate and turn this into many plants, but this is one happy begonia. Look at this. Gorgeous color. And this Certosperma as well. It's been, buried under the other plants, so finally now we get to see it. So anyways, I wanted to look you in the eye and thank you for watching this video. Actually, our journey, our care, and all these is far from over, but I think I already filmed about 4 hours of footage. I don't know how many hours it will be after I edit it. It will be much shorter, hopefully. So if you guys enjoy these kinds of videos, and of course I do love making them, it is taking a bit of time because setting up the cameras and and doing all these chores take a bit of time, but I enjoy sharing the process. It also motivates me to do more. So it's been therapeutic. It's been very healing as well to throw the things away, get rid of the things. So if you guys have enjoyed this kind of content, please do send a like and comment down below to let me know that you liked it, because it's one way for me to know and also for YouTube to recommend these videos to other plant lovers like yourself. And I'm at Botanist on Instagram. Feel free to add me to see my day-to-day activities, my postings. And if you have any dire questions about plant care, sometimes I do get to it where possible. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you, Patreon members, for supporting the channel. Should you consider joining as a member, the Patreon link is Sean from Only Plants. It can also be found in this video description. I've started producing bonus contents for members. These include plant hauls, plant shopping, and mini bite-sized adventures. The same bonus contents will also be unlocked for you if you join to become a YouTube member of the channel. There is a monthly membership fee as small as a cup of coffee a month. Simply go to Only Plants channel page and click join. Your contributions help me grow the channel, do better content, and have a better quality of life. For that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.